Hello, I'm here in my garden on this day, Oshlahu Bats, this day of creativity, hopefully to weave something beautiful for you for the Trecena of E. I planted my corn, you can see behind me, 100 days ago. And as you can see, it's just about ready to harvest. So I'll be taking in that harvest before the solar zenith transit on 6 Noch, which will be the 12th of August. Ready to replant on that day. So, if you are interested in journeying, as I begin this talk about the Trecena of the path, the Trecena of the road, I just want to mention that next year I'll be making another journey to El Mirador. That will actually be for the Junajpu Trecena, and if it's something that interests you, please get in touch. You'll find the details on my page. If you go to Junajpu Journey on my page, you'll find the details about the Mirador trek that I'm running next year. It's getting quite full. I think we have 1 or 2 spaces left on it if you're interested. Also, from the 1st to the 5th of September, I will have a Maya calendar workshop running. That will be 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Guatemala time, and that will be only on Zoom. And if you're interested in knowing more about your Nawal, then again, go to my website. You'll find the links below this video or in the accompanying literature, as it were, to book up for a reading with me to find out what your Nawal says about your life path, your challenges, and what skills and talents you have to overcome them. So, the Trecena of E, the journey, the path, E, the way. And I think there's also something with it. It's like when we go on a journey, it is always going to be a discovery. We don't know exactly what we're going to find out there. And this Trecena of E, I see very much as a journey of discovery. It's time to renew our path. It's time to set out on a new journey. And that might be physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. There's many different ways that we might go. So it's saying kind of like time to get out there, time to find a new path. Or, if you've been thinking about one for a while, time to kind of like get on with the idea of moving forwards on it. So we're going to begin the Trecena of E on the 7th of August 2025 with the day 1 E. So E, as I said, it's about movement, it's about travelling, it's about finding the way, finding the path. And here with the number 1 being like the seed, being like the beginning, like the newborn. So it's the beginning of a journey that takes you somewhere. Now you may remember that 20 days ago was the day 7 the end of the path. I say, like you come to the top of the mountain, the path ends, you now get to choose your new path. So now it's time to begin that new path. Hopefully you've had 20 days of thinking about it, and now you're ready to move forward. So how will you move forward? Where will you move forward? That number 1 being like the seed. The seed needs a little fertilizer to grow. Maybe it needs a little encouragement. Maybe it needs a little nurturing. And that 1 representing that, it could be a time to ask for directions on your new road. Maybe there are people who've walked that path ahead of you that, can help to show you the way. So, maybe there is a preparatory phase for it or whatever. And the 1 brings exactly that. It's time to begin the new path, but it's time to get the information, get everything ready, get everything together in order to set out on the path. From 1 on the 8th of August, we then move to 2 Ach. So Ach, the Nawal of the cornstalk, the Nawal of home. Ach then a while of harmony in our community. And here with the number 2, there is a duality introduced. Now, Ach is here to lead, and it's here to be that benevolent leader that brings harmony to their community, that brings peace to their community. And there is a way to do it through compassion, and there is a way to do it through authority. Because, of course, it's our love of our family, it's our love of our community, our compassion for them, that brings about that desire to bring harmony, that desire to bring peace. But sometimes we also need to bring down the staff and say, enough. And here, with that too, we can see that duality, to understand the duality between compassion and authority, let's say, in order to bring harmony. And that sometimes we need to use both. Sometimes we need to stand up in that way and bring that staff down and say enough in order to bring peace. We can also see that with this, if we see Ach as representing the home, and we are in the Trecena of E, this new beginning, this new path, then there's always these decisions to be weighed up between what's going on in the home and what's going on the path. You know, there may be some kind of like, but if I go on this journey, what's going to happen in my village while I'm away, and these kind of things going on. And so kind of like weighing those two things up perhaps onto Ach, and making sure that your home is well cared for while you journey, those kind of things. Maybe those decisions come into very stark contrast on the day to Ach, because that too can also, kind of like show us, kind of like the both sides, the two extremes of it. And so ensuring that peace prevails, ensuring that harmony prevails within your home and your community by seeing the two sides of things can also be a theme of Tu Ach. From Tu Ach on the 9th of August, we'll then go into 3 Ish. Now again, there is something there signifying the home, because the home can represent what's going on inside. The home is our heart, the heart of our life in a way. And the number 3 can be this very internal number. It's like looking inside to the place of creation, to what's within us. And it can be an introspective day. It can be a day in which we are, whether we're staying inside our home or going within our heart. Those, kind of like for me, feel like good ways to use the number 3, because sometimes a 3-day might feel a little bit challenged if we try and do stuff on the outside, because it's more about going within and looking for the creativity within us rather than from outside of us. And here when we have it combined with Ish, Ish representing the heart of the earth, representing the Mother Earth, representing the feminine and the magic that comes from the earth. Ish representing our connection with the altars and the shrines just up here, kind of like in that gap between these two rocks over here. There's a shrine, an altar up there, where we can go and ask for what is needed for our community. Now, of course, I travel, and when I travel, I do miss my connection, my physical connection with the altars, whether it's the altar up there or whether it's the altar in my garden here. But there's also something that says, kind of like when we've worked at a place, we have an energetic connection with it. When we've spent time making ceremony, when we've spent time connecting with Mother Earth through a particular sacred site, it's like we take on that energy, we bring it into our world, and we carry that energy within us. We carry that magic within us. And for me, I feel that this 3-ish can be this understanding of how we can carry that magic within us as we take that new journey, because, kind of like we'll do our best to keep our connection and take our altar with us in our heart and that kind of thing. That for me can that be that 3-ish. So, a day of contemplation, of going inside. How can we work more closely with Mother Earth? How can we help to develop our connection with her, and how can we keep this connection with the altars in our hearts so that we carry that magic with us on our new road. From 3 Ish, we then move to 4 Tsikin, and that will occur on the 10th of August 2025. So, Tsikin, the Nawal of the birds. I don't know whether maybe you can hear the birds. Oh, thank you very much, singing around me on this beautiful morning. The birds that bring us clarity, the birds that bring us the vision, the understanding of the way ahead, but also that bring prosperity. Because if we're going to set out on that path, we have to prosper. You know, it's supposed to be a prosperous journey where we receive what we need in order to ensure that that path helps us to move forwards. So on 4 Tsikin, this is a day to stabilize that vision. This is a day to ensure that we have a stable prosperity to move forwards to on that new path. So we can also see it as a time to ground our vision. We need vision of the way ahead. This is a new path that we're moving on to. This is a new way ahead that we're going. And, you know, I always think about how, you know, kind of like if you want to drive in a straight line or ride in a straight line or whatever, you have to look to a point on the horizon. You have to look ahead. You project your energy to that point on the horizon to which you're going. And with our vision, if we are very clear on where it is that we're going, then we can overcome the pitfalls on the way. And so it is to bring that vision down to earth, to ensure that we have clarity, physical clarity on where we're going, how we're going to prosper in that way. The ability to bring our vision down to earth, to solidify it, to make it tangible, to make it real. This, for me, is something that 4 Tsikin may well be working at. How can we bring our vision into physical reality? These are both things that may be inspired and questions that may be asked on the day 4 Tsikin. From 4 Tsikin, we then move into 5 Achmach on the 11th of August 2025. And so Achmach, the Nawal of the human being, the Nawal of being human. Achmach, the Nawal of forgiveness and pardon and acceptance, and here with the number 5 representing work. Now, Achmach doesn't always get things right. It's about being human, right? And there is, you know, sometimes we step into things with the best of intentions and then things don't quite work out as we intended, and, you know, kind of like then we have to apologize or ask for an apology or, you know, forgive. And this is what Achmach is about, because as we start our new path, we want to start our new path free of burdens, right? We don't want to be carrying kind of like that old stuff that doesn't really help us on that path. We've already got enough to carry with, you know, kind of like the backpack that we're carrying and all of those, you know, things that are going to help us on our journey. And so in order to move forwards freely, we have to kind of like forgive and leave some stuff behind. So 5 Achmach can be seen as working on our humanity. It can be seen as working on forgiveness, working on pardon, working on letting go of those things that might be holding us back on our path, whether they might be guilt or blame or shame. And in some ways, one of the things that I would like to suggest with 5 Achmach is about working on being a better human, because it's about the sweetness of life that comes in from our understanding and of our ability of we're human, you're human, they're human. We don't always get it right. It's time to move on so that we can move on to our new path. From 5 Achmach, we then move into 6 Noch on the 12th of August. And this is the day of the solar zenith transit. So at solar noon, which is about 8 minutes past midday, the sun will be directly overhead here. And I will try and get out with my tripod and a tube, if it's not cloudy, to make a little video showing how this alignment happens. This is the day to get the second crop of corn into the ground. Noach represents knowledge, represents the mind. It represents problem solving. It is seen as, kind of like the knowledge and information that helps us to move through life. And this is combined with the number 6. The number 6 can represent the family. The number 6 can represent this connection between the heart of the sky and the heart of the earth, very appropriate on the solar zenith transit, and its manifestation into the physical world, even more appropriate. Perhaps this is a great day to use that knowledge to plant the corn to sustain the family. It's interesting how that one worked out. But in general, as we move through this Trecena of E, as we're talking about the new journey, this is about understanding how we can use the knowledge from above, the knowledge from below, in order to bring the solutions in the physical realm to help our journey. So, for me, Noach, of course, is very clever. Noach is like the genius, the intellectual genius anyway. And the solutions that may be found on this day 6 Noach may be ones which are not just practically applicable. There are also solutions which may be kind of like divinely inspired, drawing on the divine masculine and the divine feminine in order to create the solution in the physical realm. So it's a great day for thinking things through. If you need to seek knowledge, if you need to seek solutions on your path, on your new journey, kind of like some understanding that you need to gather, some information and some knowledge that you need to gather, 6 Noch may be the ideal day to do it. From 6 Noch, we then move to 7 Tihash on the 13th of August. And so Tihash, the Nawal of the obsidian blade, the Nawal of healing, the number 7 representing finality, representing coming to that point at the top of the mountain, making our choices, making our decisions. And so, in some ways, kind of like, again, sometimes I like just to use 2 words to kind of give an idea about something. And for me, 2 words that describe 7 Tihash, the final cut, the final edit. Because that 7, that finality, that ending, and Tihash, the cut, the edit that comes, the Tihash using our discernment to see through to purity, using our discernment to see through to the truth, using our discernment to cut away those things which are no longer needed in order to bring out the best things. And if we're going back to the idea about being on the journey, on this new path, yes, it's kind of like cutting away those things which might be holding us back on our path, cutting away those things which are no longer necessary in our life or no longer necessary on our new path. Now, from the top of the mountain, you can see all of the best things. You've got this great perspective. You can see things in detail. Oh, that's where that is. That's where that is. That's where that path leads, or whatever it might be. And so now it's time to make the choice. Right, okay, we're going to cut that away. We're going to cut that away. We're going to cut that away. Yes, there might be some finality about it. And yes, there might be, I might have to be a bit careful not to burn some bridges, but maybe they're ones that we need to burn. Maybe they're ones that we need to then go forwards with. And so it's like making the choice, kind of like looking in your backpack, as it were, to make sure that you are carrying with you mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically exactly what you need for that new journey. That it's not something which is just weighing you down and stopping you from moving forwards on the path. And there is a healing that comes from that. And that healing that comes is also a final healing, because that's that 70 hash. Okay, so it can be quite a powerful day to be doing that work, to be making those choices, to finally cut away what's been making you sick, to finally cut away what's been stopping you from stepping out on your new journey. From 70 hash, on the 14th of August, we will then move to 8 Kawwok. So Kawwok, the Nawal of the rainstorm, Kawwok, the Nawal of the midwife of the new birth. So as you can see, well, we did actually have a little rain overnight, just to keep everywhere fresh and green, just to keep that new corn coming, as they keep those cobs swelling and that kind of thing. And the 8th day can always be seen as a day of ceremony, a day of celebration, a day of offering and payment. And who are we making that offering and payment to? The midwives. Those who bring the new into the world. Now, again, in the write-up that accompanies this video, you'll see that there's the Midwife Project in there as one place where you might feel like you want to send a donation. So if you want to send your blessing to the midwives for their work in the world, you'll find the link to the Midwife Project around this video or audio. So it's a great day for ceremony, and I see Tihash and Kawwok working together in healing. Tihash, the surgeon that makes the cut. Kawwok, the one who does the aftercare, who makes it better. And here, after that final cut, we then go into the wholeness of healing, because the 8 can be seen as the 1 and 7 coming together as wholeness. And so it's wholesale healing that happens on that day, 8 Kawwok. So yes, we can make our ceremony to give thanks for the work of the midwives. We can make our ceremony to give thanks for the rain, to give thanks for the equal measures, to ensure that everything in balance and that wholeness comes, that there's enough rain to nurture the corn, yet not so much that it gets flooded, to give thanks for that balance of the rains. We can also see that rain, that midwife, washing us clean. So 8 Kawwok can be a wonderful day for a healing ceremony. It can be a wonderful day for a Thanksgiving ceremony for all the female healers in our world. From 8 Kawwok, we then move into 9 Junajpu on the 15th of August. So 9 Junajpu. Junajpu, the Nawal of the sun, the Nawal of the warrior, the Nawal of the spiritual journey. And here with the number 9 representing the feminine, but also representing life itself. Junajpu, I often like to associate with the hero. Junajpu literally means he of the blowgun. This is why sometimes Junajpu might be referred to as the hunter, the one who's on the quest, the one who's going on that journey. And with the number 9 representing life, it's kind of like, the quest of life. And that's what our journeys can be. Yes, we might have our morning commute, and yes, that might be a mundane journey or whatever. But then there's the bigger journeys that we're on as well. And for me, 9 Junajpu is really about looking for that sacred journey within our life, that hero's journey within our life. Because, we're not put here to, shuffle papers around and that kind of thing, okay? You've got to earn a living, nothing against it, all that kind of thing. But what about our higher purpose? What about the higher purpose of our life? Because for me, 9 Junajpu can very much represent that. 9 Junajpu may be, kind of like, yes, it can be the feminine quest. Yes, it can be, kind of like the day of the heroine, as it were, the female hero. But really what I see it is kind of like looking for that spiritual quest in life. What is our higher purpose? How can we apply our life to that higher purpose by taking this new path? Does this new path integrate with our personal goals, our personal spiritual goals, as it were, to take us towards our higher purpose? Now the 9 is a strong and independent number. And this is, the strong and independent hero. And I think there's a particular strength that comes to that, because the hero faces the challenges on the journey. It's not all, it's not all kind of like golden armor and all that kind of thing. I don't know why I thought about golden armor, but you know what I mean? It's kind of like those ideas of the hero. The hero's going to face challenges. And that 9 is saying, this is time to be independent. This is to say, that's okay, I got this. I'm setting out on my new path, but I carry this essence of that independent hero, and I can overcome whatever challenges I face on my path towards my higher purpose. From Junajpu, we then move into 10 Emos on the 16th of August. And so 10 Emos representing a lake, representing our connection. Okay, so Emos can represent the oceans and the lake and the waters of the world. And, I see, water, the life that connects us all together. But you can also see 10 as representing community. And so it's kind of like a double connection on this day, because it is our empathy for society, our empathy for community, that comes from Emos. And then we have the 10 representing the community as well. And so it's kind of like, I want to say doubly strong, doubly emphasized about the dream of community, the dream of society, and this empathic connection to the people around us, to the world around us. And empathic connections to the world around us can be a great thing, but they can also be something which can put us into a spin, put us into a state. As we walk through our life, and I don't know whether, I think I'm a prolific traveller. I know people who've travelled to far more places and far more diversely than I have, and I also know some people who haven't. And so maybe I'm just somewhere in the middle. But I would always say that the understanding of society, the understanding of communities that comes from travel is something which is unparalleled. When we move around to different places and see how different people live and see how so much connects us, kind of like whatever country we're in, whatever language we speak and all that kind of thing, kind of like we all have the same basic ideas and dreams and hopes and wants for our children and all that kind of thing. And maybe this is something in this Trecena of E that comes out, this understanding of this empathic connection that we have with the whole of humanity. Now, that empathic connection can be a beautiful thing where we can understand each other without the need for words or explanation. We can understand each other through sentiment. We can understand each other through our feels. We can understand each other with a smile, with a wave, those kind of things. But we can also feel. And that feeling with a lot of distress in the world is also something that we might get tapped into. And it's understanding, where do my feelings, where does my empathy get to? How extended is it out into the world? Because sometimes, this can be a great guide for us, but sometimes this can also be something which can be debilitating, because we might end up feeling very sad, or we might end up feeling very distressed because we're feeling everybody else's distress, particularly on that 10 Emos day. And so it's an understanding of kind of like what are my feelings and what are the feelings of others, what are the feelings of my community, on, kind of like what might be seen as a more positive note. This is also a day to understand what are the dreams for my community, our community. How can we bring those things together? How can we combine? How can we shake hands and come to agreement on the dreams that we all have for a better future for society, as the case may be? From 10 Imosh, we then move into 11 Ik on the 17th of August. And so this might be quite a turbulent day. We have Ik representing the wind, representing changes, unforeseen changes. We have Ik representing communication, and here combined with the number 11, which can also be a highly creative but also highly unpredictable energy. So 11 Ik can be a day on which, kind of like the unpredictable might happen. The unpredictable might get blown into your course just when you were least expecting it. Maybe there is sudden communication that we weren't expecting. Maybe this changes our path. And maybe this is something that, can cause us to have a bit of a wobble in this new journey. It's like, just when I thought I was going in the right direction, the wind changed and blew me off course. But there is something that we need to learn on our journey. And that is how to stabilize. That's how to, be in our center wherever we are, wherever we're going. This helps us to gain resilience. That adaptation to change brings creativity. And so on that day, 11 Ik, we can also understand that this is the day, yes, those changes might come. And yeah, we weren't expecting it. Yeah, that communication came out of nowhere. But you know what? That's life. That's the way that it often happens. And 11 Ik is here to teach us how to be in balance, how to adapt to change whenever it comes in, however it comes in, wherever it comes in from. We're ready for this. We've got this. Okay? And so, yes, there may be those things that come out of nowhere. Yes, there may be these spontaneous things. But I think that the important thing on 11 Ik is not to have like a knee-jerk response to words, not to have a knee-jerk response to unforeseen changes and go, that's okay. Take a breath. It's Ik after all, the breath of life. This is helping us to learn that resilience. So, kind of like on that 11 Ik day, if those changes come up, kind of like maybe, kind of like count to 10 before you open your mouth about it or something like that. Because it's trying to bring you creativity to adapt to resilience. From 11 Ik on the 18th of August, we'll then go into 12 Akbal. So Akbal, the new concept, Akbal, the twilight, the coming of the new day or the coming of the new night, as it might be. And here with the number 12 representing bundling, representing bringing everything together. And so it is kind of like bringing together your new concepts. Maybe this is bringing together your new concepts for the journey that you're going on, whether it's a journey, physical journey, or a journey of discovery, or however it might be. Akbal, I like to think about as bringing things out of the darkness and into the light. It's about bringing those new concepts into the light, and maybe those are new concepts we're going to need for our new path. And here we can see it with that number 12. So it's like having that whole bag of new concepts, having that whole bringing together all of those threads for whatever it is that you're going to be weaving on your new path. So, 12 Akhabal, kind of like things come to light. And these may be, kind of like it's as we move onto the new path, we're going to have new experiences. As those new concepts come in, maybe there is an opportunity to blend them with our life experience to understand our way forwards on the path. Now, one of the things I once heard a nana say in a ceremony was that Akbal reminds us that however dark things get, the light is always coming back, the sun is always going to rise in the east. And of course, this gives us our direction. Because if we know where the sun is going to rise, we know where east is, and this is going to help us to orientate ourselves on the path. Now, when we have that number 12 suggests life experience. And so perhaps this is the day to use our life experience to orientate ourselves with the new concepts that we discover on our path. Okay? And then finally, on the 19th of August, we move into the day 13 Cat. So, Cat, the Nawal of the net, the Nawal of harvest. Cat, the Nawal of gathering, the Nawal of abundance. Cat can represent our carrying net. It can represent, literally like our backpack that we're carrying, or our suitcase, if, kind of like we do that kind of thing, to take our new journey. And the number 13 can represent ancestors. It can represent the spirit world. It can represent the 13 major joints that help us to connect with the ancestors. And so it could be ancestral guidance on what we want to keep in our net. It could be the way that we understand, kind of like what from our, kind of like what from our past we need to keep, what we need to let go of. But also, it can represent the ancestral gifts that fill our net. If Cat represents our connections, if Cat represents our network, this is about our ancestral connections. This is about our network with spirit, as it were. The guidance that we receive from the ancestors on the path. The guidance that we receive from the ancestors to understand exactly what we need to carry in our net. I often talk about Cat days being these great days to have a sort out of what you're carrying, whether it is in your home, whether it is in your pack, or whether it is in your heart, or your spirit, or your mind. There are things which are going to help you on your new path, and there are things which are going to burden you on your new path. Because Cat is about release. Cat is about letting go. Cat is about ensuring that you're carrying exactly what it is that you need to multiply as you walk your path. And so it's a blessing of abundance, but it's also a blessing of release. It's a day to celebrate our liberty, our freedom of movement. And it's a great day to petition the ancestors to understand exactly what it is we need to carry forwards and exactly what it is that we need to release. And so maybe, kind of like if you were doing a divination or something like that, it's like, right, okay, what is holding me back from walking my new path? And what do I need to gather into my net to help me to walk this new path? So, I hope that that has been interesting for you. I hope that that helps to guide you on your new path. And I look forward to seeing you again in 13 days' time when I'll talk with you about the Trecena of Can. Thank you.